Hi, welcome to the Stories Beside channel. Enjoy watching. Amelia was marrying for love. At least she thought so. Amelia's chosen one was her boss, who was 12 years older. He had been married before in that family and had 2 sons growing up. But Harry didn't let that stop him. He fell in love with Amelia and wanted to start a new family. Close friends dissuaded Amelia from this wedding because they doubted the loyalty and faithfulness of her chosen one. But love is blind and foolish in some cases. Amelia listened to no one and married the man she loved. Family life worked out quite well. Harry insisted that Amelia change her job because he believed that spouses should not work together. He even helped her with the new job, finding her a job with an acquaintance as a chief accountant. Amelia dutifully agreed to everything her husband suggested and said. In fact, she herself was satisfied with these proposals, so there was no objection from her side. In the evenings, the couple would go to the theater restaurant to visit the remaining friends and relatives. And the reason, and most importantly, time for quarrels, they just did not have. And it seemed to Amelia that it would always be so. She trusted her husband because she saw Harry loved her for real. Amelia suddenly remembered how their relationship had begun. Amelia needed to coordinate the annual report, but the CEO was away on a business trip, and Harry was his replacement, the deputy director. Amelia had rarely crossed paths with him before because she reported directly to the general manager. But in the current situation, she had to contact Harry. They stayed up late discussing an important document. By the time they came to their senses, it was 10:00 p.m. Amelia, I think we're working late. Would you call your husband so he wouldn't worry? Harry suggested. I'm single and live alone, so there's no one to warn. Except for the cat. Amelia smiled. But he can do it on his own. Oh, I see. Oh, that's strange. I thought you were married. Are you alluding to my age? Amelia smiled again. No, not at all. It's just that I was sure that a girl like you couldn't be alone. What are men looking at? I don't get it. Well, apparently they're looking in the wrong place. Or they're just busy with other women. Yeah, Harry said enigmatically and suggested Amelia. Since you and I have been working so hard, I suggest we go out for dinner. I don't mind. I'm starving. Yes, Amelia agreed. At the time, she didn't know how this dinner would end. Harry was an attractive and charming man, but she didn't know him well and had never considered him as a potential partner. But this dinner changed her whole life. They arrived at a cozy little restaurant. Harry complimented Amelia the whole evening, made jokes, told all kinds of interesting, funny stories from his life, and he opened himself up in a completely different way. Amelia realized that she had fallen in love all at once and seriously. It was strange and surprising to her. It had never happened to her before. At 29, Amelia was an experienced woman. She'd been in relationships for a long time, and she had a cool head about choosing a mate. But here it just hit her. After dinner, Harry took Amelia home. They said a friendly goodbye, and he left. Amelia went up to the apartment, sat down on an ottoman in the hallway, and sat for a long time, staring into the distance. What was wrong with me? Why am I so hooked, Harry? We've been working together for years. We've been to corporate events, but I wasn't attracted to him before. What had happened? Amelia pondered, but there were no answers to the questions that arose. At night, she hardly slept. Feelings took over her, and Amelia had no time for sleep. She remembered his face, his gentle hands casually touching her arm, his deep and intelligent gaze, his charming smile. Arriving at work, Amelia found a bouquet of flowers on her desk. She smiled, so he liked me too. She had no doubt from whom. Flowers from other suitors just weren't there at this point. At this point, Amelia wasn't thinking about the fact that Harry was married. And she knew for a fact that he had children. That building happiness on another woman's unhappiness is bad and fraught with consequences. She just fell in love. Amelia struggled to get through the rest of the day. She really wanted to sleep. And tomorrow was the New Year's Eve corporate party, and she had to stop for a dress. But everything changed at one moment. There was a knock at the door, and Harry came in. Sleep vanished like a dream. Amelia could now move mountains. "Good afternoon, Amelia. How are you feeling?" "Good. Thank you. I'm fine. Are you all right too?" "Thank you. I just wanted to make sure you'll be at the party tomorrow." "Of course, I am supposed to attend it." Amelia smiled. The chief accountant she had become only 6 months ago, but she knew exactly what the heads of all departments had to be at all company events. "Very well then, until tomorrow," smiled Harry and left the office. I wish he hadn't come in. After he left, Amelia was pacing around the office like a caged tiger. She felt as if she were suffocating with feeling. What on earth was that? "I've never felt this way about anyone before." Amelia was angry. And once again the sleepless night. Circles under my eyes, and 2 cups of coffee. I wouldn't last this long in the morning, Amelia thought. Something had to be done about it. She called her friend Olivia and told her how she was in trouble. "Amelia, what's the problem?" "You need to sleep with him, or you'll be disappointed in him after that, or..." "I think the first option would work, knowing you." "Olivia, you're out of your mind." "What do you mean, sleep with him? He's married." "So what? It's not like I'm asking you to marry him. One time is fine." Olivia had always been known for her freedom of manners, and for her it was a mere trifle. But Amelia wasn't used to doing it, and she didn't think it was acceptable behavior, even though she wanted intimacy with Harry terribly badly. Amelia decided to go to the party fully equipped with a new dress, fancy makeup, hair, and manicure. She really wanted to provoke a response from Harry, to make him gasp too. Like her. Why? She didn't know. She just dreamed about it. At the party she searched for him with her eyes, but for some reason Harry wasn't there. It was customary to come to a corporate party with a spouse. And that was Amelia's greatest fear. If he came with his wife, she would not be able to talk with him. The evening slowly transitioned into the fun stage, when practically no one was sitting at the table anymore. Some are dancing, some are just chatting. Congratulations were given, gifts were given. We can just relax and have a rest. Amelia was about to leave. Suddenly, Harry showed up at the door. He was alone. Amelia sighed in relief. Harry walked up to the general manager, chatted with him, and began to look for Amelia. She sensed it and looked intently in his direction. Finding Amelia, he walked confidently toward her. "You are more gorgeous, Amelia, than ever." Harry leaned down and kissed her hand. "Thank you," Amelia smiled, refraining from fainting at his touch. A small shiver went throughout her body, and he felt it. "Are you cold?" Carefully, Harry asked. "No," Amelia answered quickly. "Then why are you shivering?" Harry smiled slyly. "I don't know," Amelia lied. "I think you know very well." Harry looked at her slyly. "I think I do too." Amelia would have fallen through the floors, buried herself somewhere underground. She'd never felt more uncomfortable. She pulled her hand away and hid it behind her back. "Amelia, there's no shame in that. It seems normal to me." Such frankness was not what she had expected. It was a good thing the room was semi-dark. Otherwise, everyone would have noticed that Amelia had turned burgundy. "I don't think it's proper to say such things, even if you suspect something," Amelia tried to retort. "Did I say that? I suspect. I'm sorry. I'm quite sure of it." He leaned into her ear and said, barely audible, "I haven't slept in 2 nights. All the time I think and dream about you." Amelia's legs buckled. If Harry hadn't propped her up by the elbow, she would have fallen for sure. Amelia looked at him, trying to figure out what to do. And now it would all depend on Amelia's answer. And she answered briefly and unambiguously, "Let's go to my place." 40 minutes later, they flew into Amelia's apartment. They couldn't make it to the bedroom, and the whole thing happened in the hallway. They both got caught up in it. It was unthinkable. Harry later confessed that he had been in love with Amelia for a long time, but had never been able to make the first move, and he was really sure that she was married. Harry stayed with Amelia until morning, and 2 weeks later he left the family and moved in with his things. And then the unimaginable attacks by the ex-wife of her in-laws on Amelia by some co-workers began. It was as if absolutely everyone was concerned about their personal lives. Amelia tried to answer delicately. Harry, on the other hand, blatantly told everyone off, saying that it was his and Amelia's business, and no one had the right to interfere. After a couple of months, everyone calmed down and virtually forgot about the story. In the meantime, Harry filed divorce papers and waited for the court to decide, because his wife adamantly refused to divorce him. When Harry and Amelia had all the paperwork drawn up, they registered at the bridal exchange and were married 2 months later. There were not many guests at the wedding. Only Harry's closest friends took the side of ex-wife Jessica and refused to come to the party on the bride's side. Also, not all of the guests wanted to attend this outrage because they thought that Amelia had acted unworthily by destroying someone else's family. Even Olivia, who thought sleeping with Harry was a good idea, dissuaded her friend from getting married. "Amelia, are you sure this is your man? What if he gets a new love after a while? Betrayed once. Well, you know how it is, Olivia. We love each other. Why doesn't anyone believe that? Probably because it seems strange. It's so quick and sudden. Why suddenly? How long does it take to wait a year, 2 years, 10? This is ridiculous. We are adults, and we want to live together. There's nothing stopping us. Yeah, some people are even too old to get in the way. And 2 kids isn't an obstacle. You know I can sleep with anyone I want. But taking my husband out of the family with children is not nice, to put it mildly." But Amelia didn't want to listen to her friend. She was sure she was doing the right thing. And after all, you have to fight for your love. Harry was unlucky with his first wife. She didn't understand him and was always throwing tantrums. It was her own fault he left good wives. Husbands don't leave, was sure Amelia. And now they live together. They are family. Time flew by like one day. Passion subsided slightly, and now they didn't have intimacy every day, going out and visiting cultural places less often either. Harry was working hard and tired. Amelia was also tired at her new job. Life slowly turned from stormy to ordinary family life. Often in the evenings they just watched TV, or each went about their own business. 3 years passed. During that time, Amelia had risen to the position of chief financial officer. Harry was still the deputy director, but she couldn't get pregnant. A trip to the doctor ended with advice to go on vacation with her husband and have a normal vacation. That's what Amelia had been missing for 2 years. Amelia had talked about a vacation more than once, but Harry kept referring to the backlog of work. Amelia herself knew her husband had problems. For the past 6 months, Harry's general manager had been very ill, and Harry had been filling in for him. But then word came out that he was coming back on Monday, and it would be possible to take a couple of weeks off. "Harry, I heard the general manager was going out to work," started from afar. "Amelia, so without looking at his spouse," Harry asked, "I just thought maybe you could take a couple of weeks off, and we could go to the sea. I'm very tired, and the doctor says I need a rest and a change of scenery. You know how much I want a baby." "Amelia, I understand, but I don't think we have time for babies yet. Are you kidding? I'm about to be 33. When can I have a baby?" I was starting to get angry. Amelia, it was a very painful subject for her, and Harry kept putting it off. "Of course, you have kids. You don't have to worry about hairs." "What about me? Don't start. I want us to have a baby too. I just don't have time for that right now." "Can you tell me when we will?" "Well, maybe in a year or 2. Harry answered evasively. "I see. Can you guarantee me that I'll be able to get pregnant in that time?" "We haven't been able to do that for 3 years. Amelia walked out of the kitchen. She was annoyed by all this talk about nothing, and the constant putting off having a baby until later. And the frustrating thing was that there was nothing she could do about it. Suddenly, it hit her. "Stop. My birthday is in 2 weeks. I'll ask her husband for a gift trip to the sea together. We'll not go anywhere. We'll go. After waiting a couple of days, waiting until her husband finally calmed down, Amelia started talking about the gift. It was customary for them to discuss gifts in advance, so Amelia boldly broached the subject. Harry, have you decided what you are going to get me? I haven't yet. Do you have a wish? Yes, Amelia smiled. I want to go to Portugal, at least for a week. She expected her husband to start an argument, but to her surprise, he agreed. Okay, you talked her into a vacation. So a vacation, but no more than a week. Of course I agree to a week, as long as it's just the two of us. Amelia was happy. Finally, she had managed to convince her workaholic husband to take some time off. She decided not to rely on him, but to organize the trip herself. On the eve of her birthday, Amelia met Olivia to share her joy, but her friend didn't share her joy. I don't know what you're so happy about. It's only a week off. It's just impossible to rest during that time. Olivia, you don't understand. I'm happy for a week. A change of scenery. It's just the two of us. No phone calls, offices, or anything else. Even 3 days is a joy. 7 is a joy. I don't think your Harry's going. Why not? Amelia wondered. He promised me. I don't know. I just think so. In fact, I think he is with someone else. Reluctantly, Olivia said, Why are you making up shit about my husband? What has he ever done to you? He loves me, I know he does. And all your suspicions are nonsense. Amelia was mad at her friend. You should be writing books. Okay, don't be offended. Maybe I'm wrong, right? See you tomorrow, Amelia muttered, and got up from the table. I hope you won't spoil my mood tomorrow with your nonsense. The next day, Amelia received guests and gifts. She put an envelope with the vouchers in her husband's jacket pocket, and she waited to receive them. There were many different presents, but the cherished gift was with her beloved spouse. Harry presented the gift with the words, My dear, I want you always to be young, beautiful, healthy, and happy. And for all this, it seems to me, you urgently need a quality vacation in the company of an interesting man. I hope you have such a specimen in mind, Harry joked and handed an envelope to his wife. Of course I have. I am married to such a man. Amelia smiled, and the guests laughed. When the guests had dispersed, Harry walked up to his wife, put his arm around her shoulders, and asked, Are you happy with tonight? Yes, it was very nice. Why do you ask? I want to know if anyone upset you. No, I'm as fine as I've ever been. You know, I have a good feeling about this trip. You do. I think it's going to work out, and we'll come back as a threesome. Amelia turned and kissed her spouse, but Harry didn't say anything back. Amelia could hardly wait for departure day. She had fit everything in at work, warned her not to be disturbed, only in case of some kind of emergency. But they hardly ever have any of those at work, and with a clear conscience, she went home to pack her bags. Around 8:00 p.m., she dialed Harry, but he didn't answer. That was strange. We had agreed to leave work early so we could get a good night's sleep before we left. Amelia thought to herself and sent her husband voicemails reminding him of their agreement. It was about 11 o'clock when Harry got home. He never called Amelia back, but just came home. He'd obviously been drinking somewhere. Harry, where have you been? I didn't know what to think anymore. Amelia ran up to him, but when she heard the smell, she stopped. I don't understand. What were you drinking? Amelia, we have an emergency, Harry said, struggling to say the words. Only now did Amelia realize that he hadn't just been drinking. He could barely stand on his feet. What was Amelia afraid of? I can't fly with you tomorrow. You are flying alone. Her husband's words sounded strange, like a verdict. Amelia even flinched at the words. She felt very hurt and cried. It is not fair. We made an agreement. I do not want to go alone. Can I make a deal? Started to get angry. Harry, you're flying tomorrow, and I'll be there in 2 days. We have a very serious deal. There's no way I can be absent. I've already extended our trip by 3 days, so by the time I get there, you'll be rested and bored." Amelia sighed with relief. "You could have just said so, or else it would have been an emergency." "I'm sorry. I thought I'd have time to finish my sentence." Harry smiled. Early in the morning, Amelia left for the airport while her husband was still asleep. She didn't wake him up, just kissed him on the cheek and left, sitting in the plane seat. And looking out the porthole, Amelia daydreamed about finally getting a good night's sleep. She rarely got a good night's sleep lately. Before she knew it, she was dreaming and fell asleep. Amelia woke up to someone shaking her shoulder. "There's nothing wrong with you." She heard an unfamiliar voice. "Yes." "What happened?" Amelia was frightened and looked at the speaker. A woman in her 50s was sitting next to her. She was the one who had woken Amelia up. "Were you sleeping so restlessly? I thought you were sick." "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you or frighten you. I had the strangest dream." "It happens," the woman said thoughtfully, and turned away. "It was a strange dream. Why wake me up so you could defiantly ignore me?" Amelia was angry, but did not say anything aloud. The plane landed successfully in Lisbon, and Amelia confidently stepped onto the stairs, breathing in the unfamiliar air. She had dreamed of Portugal, and almost since childhood this country had attracted her with its history and uniqueness. Amelia chose Lisbon for her vacation because here she could not only lie on the beach, but also see many sights. A representative of the company met her at the airport and drove her to the hotel where she had booked a room. Amelia liked the room on the photo, but was much more impressed. A happy Amelia looked around and could not believe what was happening. Her dream of many years had come true. Amelia entered the room, put the suitcase, and fell on the huge bed. Only her husband was missing to complete the experience. With regret, she thought. After resting for a while and taking a shower, Amelia changed her clothes and decided to take a walk not far from the hotel. She was not good at navigating the area and was afraid of getting lost. Walking leisurely and dreaming of the future, Amelia did not notice that a little girl on a scooter was rushing towards her, screaming for help. The girl flew straight at Amelia and, of course, crashed into her. From the surprise, Amelia lost her balance and fell down. The girl leaned over to Amelia and with tears in her eyes began to ask for forgiveness. "Auntie, please forgive me. I didn't mean to run you over. I was speeding up a lot. I couldn't stop myself in time. I was rambling." A little girl about 6 years old. "It's okay. Don't cry." Suddenly, a flushed man appeared near the girl. He apparently tried to catch up with the girl and stop her, but didn't have time. "Excuse me, please," the man repeated several times. "It's okay," Amelia repeated in Russian. "Oh, you speak Russian?" The man rejoiced. "Yes, that is not surprising. I am from Russia." Amelia smiled and tried to get up. But suddenly she realized that she could not do it. "It seems that something is wrong. Emily, I told you to look around." The man scolded the girl and helped Amelia up. "Let me call a cab and take you to the hospital." "Oh no, thank you. Not to the hospital, especially not here. I think you'll be all right in the morning. Don't scold your daughter. She really didn't hit me on purpose. I understand, but it doesn't make your life any better." The man smiled. "Well, that's true." Amelia smiled too. "Look, to make up for the accident in some way, let me take you out to dinner. Do you mind?" "No. Besides, I'm alone at the moment," Amelia said. The man was pleasant and charming. Amelia saw nothing wrong with having dinner in pleasant company. He reminded her of someone, but she could not figure out who. After making an appointment at the restaurant, Amelia took her time going to her room to get some rest and clean up for dinner. She called her husband, but Harry didn't answer. Amelia recorded voicemails to him and told him how she'd gotten there. She didn't say anything about the girl's accident so that Harry wouldn't worry too much. After lying on the bed for a while, Amelia got ready for dinner. She was a faithful wife. and about relations on the side did not even think, but to impress men she loved and knew how. When she entered the restaurant, Amelia immediately felt the stares of men, and not only single men. Now all the women will hate me, she thought, and confidently. As far as possible with an injured leg, she proceeded to her table. She wore an almost floor-length peach dress with a high slit down her right leg. Her sandals had to be worn without heels, as she had trouble walking anyway. Sloppy hair, light makeup. Amelia became irresistible. The man who had invited her to dinner was clearly smitten. Amelia suddenly thought she didn't know his name and smiled at the thought. But the gentleman took her smile differently and became embarrassed. "Are you that charming, enchanting?" He decided to compliment her. "I am the envy of all the men here." "Stop it. The restaurant is full of beautiful women," Amelia retorted. "Beautiful, yes, but not charming anymore. You are the only one. By the way, we never met. My name is Jack. I'm vacationing here with my daughter." "Nice to meet you, Jack. I'm Amelia, alone at the moment, but I'm hoping my husband will join me in a couple of days." "Are you married?" Jack is surprised. "Does that surprise you? I wonder what your husband was thinking when he let a woman like that go alone." "He trusts me." Amelia blushed. She was used to compliments, but Jack's words sounded somehow special, nice and sincere. Nevertheless, it was extremely rash of him. "Come on. There are a lot of people like me. You exaggerate." "No, I'm telling the truth. There are indeed many beautiful women, but you," he paused for a moment. "But you're special, like a magnet. It's hard not to look at you. It's like there's magic in your eyes." "Jack, let's change the subject. You've completely embarrassed me." Amelia suggested. "Agreed. But you won't forbid me to look at you." Jack smiled. "No, of course not. Look, we must communicate somehow. It won't be very pleasant if you talk to me and look away," Amelia joked. "You also have a great sense of humor." "Fantastic," Jack marveled. "What do you do?" I decided to change the conversation. "Amelia, I am a lawyer in family matters." "Really? It is an interesting profession. I wanted to be a lawyer once, too, only as an investigator. But then I changed my mind. And you were right. It's not exactly a field for lovely ladies. And what did you end up doing?" "What's your profession?" "By profession, an economist, financial analyst. I worked as an accountant, but I have already grown to become a financial director. So my direction is numbers and money." "And where is your daughter?" "With a nanny. There's a service here." I thought that the girl wouldn't be very interested in listening to the adults talk. They talked about everything. Slowly, they became like old, good friends. This was the first time Amelia had felt such a kinship of souls. Usually she was difficult to get along with people and rarely talked heart to heart. But Jack was especially easy and pleasant to talk to. "Let's go for a walk before we go to bed. They say it is good for you," Jack suggested. "I would love to." They walked along the streets for an hour and then went back to the hotel. After saying goodbye, Amelia went to her room. They agreed to have breakfast with the three of them. Amelia lay on her bed and looked out the window, thinking about everything that had happened. A complete stranger seemed closer to her than her own husband. Why was it so? Because I love Harry, but he and I never really communicated. He never understood me as well as this complete stranger. There was an unbridled passion between us. I guess we still do. But there had never been this kind of togetherness, Amelia thought with annoyance. She fell asleep in her thoughts. Amelia was awakened by a phone call. Harry decided to call before work, because then it would never happen. "Hi, honey. How are you?" "Hi is fine. Today is a very important, busy day ahead. So, sorry to wake you up. I'll be busy later, and I won't be able to dial." "It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's time to wake up. Did you change your ticket for tomorrow?" "Yeah, sure. I leave at 4:00 p.m. I can't make it any earlier. I have to go to the office in the morning. I'm really looking forward to seeing you." Have a good day. Kisses. Kisses, Harry said and hung up. Amelia went out for breakfast. Jack and Emily were waiting for her outside the restaurant. Aunt Amelia, good morning, cried Emily excitedly. Good morning, Emily. She hugged the little girl. The little girl was very sweet. Amelia liked her immediately, in spite of such an unfortunate introduction. Hi. How did you sleep at the new place? Jack asked. Hi. You know, surprisingly good, although I usually don't sleep well in other people's places. This place is like that. Everything happens here in a special way. In general, I love Portugal, and especially Lisbon. It's my third time at this hotel. The three of us used to come here. He turned away. It was obvious that it was difficult for him to talk. But since my wife is gone, we have to travel alone. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to touch your wounds. For some reason, Amelia apologized, though she said nothing of the sort. My wife has been gone a long time. She was killed in an accident 2 years ago. I'm sorry for your loss. Yes, it's very hard to lose loved ones. She was 7 months pregnant. A drunk driver swerved into oncoming traffic. Lily died at the scene, and so did the baby. The horror. Amelia said sympathetically, "Let's go to breakfast." I don't want Emily to hear us talking. I think she remembers her mother, and she'll be hurt by the memory. Jack looked at Amelia gratefully. Yes, you're right. Thank you. Emily, let's go to breakfast. He turned to his daughter, who was running around the pool for breakfast. After calming down a bit, Jack asked what Amelia's plans for the day were. I don't even know. It's my first time in Portugal. I have no idea where to go. Oh, it's not a problem. Emily and I are experienced tourists and experts in the area. I suggest visiting the Tile Museum and the National Museum of Ancient Art. Would you like that? Great. Only on the condition that you keep me company. Of course, Emily will show Aunt Amelia our favorite places. Yay, we're going to a museum. The little girl was so excited. And so they decided. After breakfast, the three of them walked around Lisbon. Amelia liked the city a lot and was glad she had chosen this place to stay. They visited both museums and planned to visit the Science Museum tomorrow, which Jack and Emily had not yet been to. The whole time, Amelia chatted with Jack on a variety of topics. She talked about herself and her tastes and interests, and amazingly, in many ways, their interests were the same. Amelia was incredibly pleasant and interesting with this man. They spoke the same language and understood each other at a glance. At one point, Amelia stopped, looked at Jack, and said, "I wish we were still friends. I've never had anyone as close to me as you." Jack took Amelia's hand and quietly, so she wouldn't hear. Emily said, "I really wish we were not only friends, but married as well. But I understand that there can be nothing but friendship, so I'm okay with at least that. For the first time since Lily left, I am looking at another woman with interest. Thank you. If you ever need my help, you can count on me. I will never betray you or let you down. Thank you. No one has ever said that to me." Sadly, Amelia said. She felt that Jack was sincere and could be relied upon. And really no one had ever said those words to her before. They continued their walk and stopped at a small cozy cafe to have lunch. During lunch, Jack joked. Both Emily and Amelia laughed. Suddenly the phone rang. Amelia picked up the phone. Harry called. "Amelia, what are you doing there?" "I'm on a tour." "What's going on?" "Yeah, a little emergency. I can't fly out tomorrow. Potential partners rescheduled a meeting for tomorrow night, so I'll have to stay a couple more days. I hope you're not bored there." Amelia couldn't stand it. It suddenly seemed to her that Harry was deliberately postponing the departure date, since he didn't want to fly on vacation originally, and she burst out, "Tell me, are you doing this on purpose? You didn't want to fly with me on any vacation, did you?" Amelia raised her voice, forgetting that she was in the cafe and Jack and Emily were standing next to her. "You said yes for the sake of appearances, and now you're making excuses. It's dishonest and despicable." "Amelia, what are you talking about? What do you mean on purpose? You don't believe me? Call my secretary and ask her about my schedule. I'm really busy and I can't fly in right now. Okay, I understand everything. I'll rest on my own. I'm not going to cut my vacation short. I deserve it after all. Amelia blurted out and hung up. The mood was ruined. Only now she realized that she had spoken harshly and loudly and apologized to those around the table. I'm sorry, I'm full of it, Amelia admitted. I was sure he wouldn't come from the beginning, but I hoped until the very last moment. It's a shame. Tears came to her eyes, and she turned away. Then she apologized and left the table. Emily looked at her daddy. Daddy, why is Aunt Amelia crying? Did someone hurt her? Can you stand up for her? I can, sweetheart. If that's what Aunt Amelia wants, you can't interfere in someone else's relationship without permission. I think she'll figure it out on her own. Amelia went back to the table and offered to go back to the hotel. I don't feel well, she said, though it was obvious what the reason was. Jack escorted Amelia to her room and suggested that we have dinner together. Maybe we could do it again last night. Will you tell me what's bothering you? I can see you're having a storm inside. Yes, I guess so, Amelia said thoughtfully. And then she thought about it and added with pleasure, meet me at 8 o'clock. I need to tidy up a bit. We'll see you then. Amelia didn't come to dinner tonight like she had the last time. She wasn't in the same mood. She showed up at the restaurant at 8 o'clock sharp. She wore light pants, a blouse vest, and thin light sandals. Despite her lack of hair and makeup, she still looked appealing, and Jack could hardly restrain himself from staring at his companion. Hi, Amelia smiled. Emily's with the babysitter again. You won't believe it, but she refused to have dinner with us. She said she didn't want to get in the way of us hanging out. Did she like you very much? Said Jack. Barely heard, he added. So did I, Amelia smiled again, but sadly. Nice. Did I like you too? Are we speaking again? Jack was surprised. No, I meant you too. I'm very fond of children, but my husband doesn't rush into it. He says there's no time for it yet. That's weird. And what about him? That he does not go on maternity leave. I also tell him so, but he is still adamant but to get pregnant. I don't want to get pregnant by accident. Besides, he already has two. And he doesn't have to rush. I don't get it. He was married before, then divorced and married me. We're 12 years apart in age. He had 2 children in that family. I'm sorry, but I don't understand. He abandoned his 2 children and left, and his relationship with them is not great. The older son refuses to communicate with him, and the younger son seems fine. And the thing about leaving. He left his wife, not his kids. They have some kind of weird relationship there. I didn't really get into it, to be honest. No, I mean, it happens, sure. But it's not manly to leave your children. I think it's a measure of a man's responsibility. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. Yeah, I get it. A lot of people have said that to me, but I love him and I wasn't thinking straight at the time. It just hit me. I do have some issues with him though. What does he do? He's a hobby. He's the deputy general manager of a major construction corporation. He has hobbies. Yeah, I don't really have time for anything. There's no such thing. Everyone has something that relaxes him, brings him back to normal, gives him vitality. For example, I like forests, and when I feel really bad, I go there and can walk for hours. And I come back a completely different person, as if born again. I also love soccer. He noticed that Amelia smiled. Yes, a typical man's hobby. And I enjoy watching matches, if time permits. Although, to tell you the truth, I hardly ever have time. But I plan my stuff and make time for everything, especially for my daughter, and for recreation. Of course you're a good father, Amelia said. And you're absolutely right. There should be hobbies and time to relax. But he can't do that. He's so busy working. Sometimes I don't think he needs me much either. Tears came to Amelia's eyes. She was very hurt by Harry's action. It is the resentment in you that speaks now. Don't jump to conclusions. I am telling you this as a lawyer. Sometimes things aren't what they seem. You go home, talk to your spouse, and everything will go back to normal. Things will get better. You'll see. That's what I really want, for things to work out. Amelia's phone rang. She looked at the display and was very surprised. It was work. Yes, businesslike, Amelia answered. Amelia, hello. I'm sorry to bother you, but we have an emergency. The receptionist answered the phone. You need to come over right away. Eva, calm down. What's wrong? I'm abroad, we know. But we're having a financial audit. They found some huge deficiencies, a misuse of some funds. Amelia, I don't understand anything, but the director said to find you from under the ground. You can come tomorrow. I'll take the morning flight, and if everything's ok, I'll be in the office by 5 o'clock. There's no way I can make it earlier. I'm sorry. Thanks. I'll tell them. We're really looking forward to seeing you. And I'm sorry again about ruining your vacation. It's ok. Eva, see you tomorrow. You're leaving? Sad. Jack asked. Yes, they found something at work, but it can't be. I have everything under control. But anyway, I've got to go and sort it out. Sorry, one more call. She dialed the number and booked a ticket for the morning flight. Jack looked at Amelia and realized that they would probably never meet again. He took a business card out of his pocket and held it out to Amelia. Here, before I forget, if you ever need my help or just want to chat, call me. I'd be happy to. Amelia took the card in her hand and read Jack, the family lawyer. And that's when it hit Amelia. Is that who you remind me of, the actor Jack? You look a lot like him, and your last names are similar. Jack hesitated. You're not the first one to tell me that. Yeah, it's a nice resemblance. Good thing it wasn't Quasimodo. Amelia laughed too. They chatted for a very long time, until almost 3 o'clock in the morning. Amelia said she needed to pack her things, take a shower, and get some coffee. There was no point in sleeping anymore. Jack walked her to her room. As she said goodbye, Amelia asked how much longer you plan to stay. We arrived the day before you did, so we'll be here for a week. What if I don't have anything to worry about? I'll fly back in a couple of days and finish my vacation. I really enjoyed Lisbon and the hotel and talking to you and Emily. That's how strange it is. Sometimes in life, we live in one city and met in another country. I'm from St. Petersburg too. Amelia smiled. Come on. Really, what a coincidence indeed. It's a small world. He took her hand. If you can make it, come back. We will be very happy. Very much so. He leaned down and kissed her on the cheek. Amelia reciprocated and gave him a friendly kiss as well. This man had become her significant other in just a couple of days. It was hard for her to say goodbye to him. I'll go reluctantly, Amelia said. She didn't want to leave at all. Thank you for everything. You have nothing to thank me for, but I do have you to thank. It's been a long time since I've felt this kind of emotion with a woman. Honestly, they didn't bother me at all until I saw you. He held her hand and wouldn't let her go. I'm sorry. I know you don't need all this. You are married and you love your husband. I just want you to know that I like you a lot. Amelia knew that she had to leave right away. She kissed him on the cheek again, released her hand, and disappeared out the door of the room. Her heart pounded in her temples. What is it? What's going on? I shouldn't think of him as a man. I shouldn't want more. I love Harry and I can't have a relationship on the side. Amelia ran to the shower, standing under the cold jets of water. She calmed down by turning on the warm water. Amelia continued to stand under the water, as if with it she wanted to wash her thoughts away. Bad thoughts, she thought. Sitting in the cab, Amelia remembered that she hadn't warned Harry about her sudden return. Okay, I'll surprise him. Drive to work, then come home and make a romantic dinner. He'll be back, and here I am. On the plane, she managed to get a few hours of sleep. Arriving in her hometown, Amelia tried to figure out what she should do: go straight to the office, or still stop by the house to change, go home, leave her suitcase, change, and go to the office. That would be more correct and convenient. She decided and gave the cab driver a different address. Amelia asked the cab driver not to leave and to wait for her for about 15 minutes, and she ran into the entryway. She opened the door to the apartment and froze right on the threshold. There were men's and women's things lying around in the hallway. The guys must have been in a hurry. Amelia listened. There were completely unmistakable noises coming from the bedroom. Amelia was shocked. She was totally unprepared for this turn of events. She took her time opening the bedroom door. In their family bed, Harry was with a woman, not a girl. The woman looked about 40 to 45 years old. Amelia was at a loss for words. They didn't even notice her. Finally, gathering her strength, Amelia said loudly, "What a surprise." Harry jumped in surprise. He pushed the woman away from him and wrapped the covers around her. He walked over to his wife Amelia. "How are you?" The only thing he could say now. "I wanted to surprise you with a romantic dinner. But I see you've already had a romance, and you don't have the energy for me." Given your age, Amelia quipped. She was in a lot of pain. She wanted to hurt her spouse. "Amelia, you've got it all wrong," Harry tried to justify himself. "Really? You could understand it in some other way. But tell me how so I know." "No, I mean, it was all an accident. I've never done this before." But then, out of the blue, Harry himself was outraged by a woman. "Do you have a conscience? We've been dating for a year, and you promised me to leave your wife. And now it turns out to be an accident. You bastard." She got up and slapped him in the face. Harry almost fell over in surprise. "That's nice. So I've been walking around with horns for a year, and I don't suspect a thing. That's amazing. And I was a fool to refuse such a man in Portugal. Had I known you were such a bastard, I would have gladly slept with him." There was a second slap, this time from her spouse. Amelia turned around and left the apartment. She didn't manage to change her clothes. She drove to the office in lightweight slacks and a blouse, which didn't really violate the company's dress code. On the way to work, Amelia tried to pull herself together, which was quite a problem to do in the apartment. She restrained herself from crying. Right now, she really wanted to let her feelings go. What meanness! How could I have ignored all this? I should have felt something. Amelia was angry with herself for her gullibility and naivety. When she entered the office of the company, she immediately went to the director's office. It was clear from her appearance that she was furious. Either the Secretary of State took it personally, deciding that Amelia was angry about her interrupted vacation. Amelia, welcome back, tried to soften the situation. "Lily, I'm sorry to have bothered you, but the chief..." Amelia didn't let her finish her sentence. "Lily, stop whining," she rudely interrupted the secretary. She never talked to anyone like that. The secretary was taken aback and sat silently in her chair, and Amelia went into the principal's office. She stayed there for about an hour, figured out the situation, and went to her office. "Lily, make me a coffee, please, and get a lawyer in here." "Okay," Amelia cautiously said the secretary. Amelia went into her office. She sat down in a chair, and only now she let the tears flow. Tears rolled down her cheeks in a hail of tears. She did not have time to wipe them. Her heart was writhing in pain and resentment. She had never had a heartache before, but now it squeezed very hard. Lily came into the office and froze in the doorway, holding a cup of coffee. "Amelia, are you all right?" she asked. "Silly question. It's so serious." "Lily, put the coffee down and go away, please. Is there anything I can do for you?" the girl inquired. It is unlikely that Amelia realized that you need to pull yourself together. Now the lawyer will come, and we have to solve work issues. It is too late to shed tears. All was already lost. She knew perfectly well that she would never forgive her husband, which meant she had to move on. And that's when Charlie walked in. Amelia's lawyer. What's going on? He started in the doorway. They had a normal relationship, and Amelia gave him the situation in a nutshell. He was taken aback. What an idiot. What an idiot, Harry. How could he have swapped you for someone else? The world had gone mad. Sincerely surprised and outraged Charlie. Yes, I'm shocked too. I didn't expect him to be so mean. You've got a lot of nerve bringing her into my apartment. Can you imagine in my apartment? Yeah, he's got a lot of nerve, but he's got no sense and no conscience. What are you gonna do now? Charlie, what is there to do? Divorce, of course. It's a good thing he didn't get me pregnant. I guess God saved me from having children with him. That's right. You're young, beautiful, smart, successful. You'll find someone worthy of you. Don't worry. And at that moment, Amelia remembered Jack. Charlie, I'm sorry. Can you give me a few minutes to clean myself up? I got a little excited, no questions asked. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Thank you, Amelia. She grabbed her purse and searched for Jack's business card. She dialed the number, but no one answered. So if it was 6 o'clock in the evening, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Probably resting. I'll call later, thought Amelia. She tidied herself up and sat down at her desk. It would take a long time to sort it out. So it was time for a coffee and some brain activity. Charlie came in, and they sat down to work on the papers. Amelia's phone rang intermittently, but she dropped all the calls. It was Harry trying to get through and talk to his wife. Amelia had made up her mind and did not want to talk to him at all. They sat in the office until 11 o'clock at night. In the end, Charlie couldn't take it anymore. Listen, let's at least order a pizza. Yes, I'm hungry for strength. No. Come on, Amelia agreed. And the phone rang again. Amelia wanted to automatically turn it off, but then she saw the number of the caller and grabbed the phone. Hello, how are you? In a soft voice, she asked. Charlie turned around in his chair and looked at Amelia in surprise. She turned away and waved her hand. Charlie stepped out delicately. Hi, we miss you badly. Emily even gave up going to the museum. And how did you solve the work issues in the process? Did something happen to you? Jack asked. Why do you think so? Amelia was surprised. I could hear the tears in your eyes again. But now for another reason. The man she had known for 3 days could feel her even at a distance, and her husband, seemingly the closest person on earth, betrayed her. No, it was okay. Amelia decided not to start talking about her husband's betrayal. Otherwise, they would have been talking for a very long time, and she needed to finish her work faster. Just tired. Jet lag, backlog at work. Okay, let's assume that's true. There was a pause. Amelia was silent, though she really wanted to say that she would do her best to finish her business and fly to them. Jack was silent too. He felt that Amelia was not doing as well as she said, but to insist and push for the truth was foolish. I miss you. He broke the silence. I miss you very much, and I miss you very much. His voice trembled. Amelia almost cried. How she wished she could hold him now and tell him the truth. To feel his warmth and drown in his care. Come soon. We will wait for you until you come. I will try to get things done sooner and get back to you. Sorry, I have to find Emily. Hello very much. I hug you. You too. Amelia disconnected and looked at the phone. It was so good that he had called. He gave me a huge boost of energy. Now I can do it all. For what? Charlie came into the office, and they continued for about 10 minutes. He couldn't take it anymore and asked, Are you seeing someone? Amelia could tell by his tone that he was judging her, and as if to say, What are you better than your husband? No, Charlie, it's not what you think. It's a friend. I met him in Lisbon. He's just a very nice man. I became friends with his daughter, and then with him. Don't think badly of me, please. I would never do that to Harry. I'm sorry. I just saw your face when you saw who was calling. Do you like him? You can't help liking a man like that. He's so gallant, intelligent, well-mannered, educated. So I understand, until you list all the good adjectives about him, you won't rest. Apparently, he got you honey. Charlie smiled. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you good luck and happiness. Do you deserve it? Thank you. Let's get it over with quickly, and I'll go back to Lisbon. They're waiting for me. Then let's go. Let's work. Before the pizza is delivered, they sat in the office until morning, but completely sorted out the paperwork found, fixed the problem. Amelia was satisfied. Now she could safely continue her vacation, waiting for the general manager and clearing up all the nuances. Amelia warned that she was taking 2 more weeks of vacation and leaving. The director didn't mind. He valued Amelia and could always rely on her, so he let her go without question. Amelia went home. She needed to pack her things and talk to Harry. There was no point in postponing the conversation. That was why it was better to solve everything at once. Her husband was not at home. Amelia dialed his number. No one answered. Without thinking, Amelia took a shower, drank 2 cups of coffee, and drove to Harry's office. But her spouse didn't show up at work either. That was surprising. Amelia was even more surprised when she was told that he was on vacation for a 2nd week. Amelia was furious. She dialed his number again and heard her mother-in-law's voice on the phone. Yes, Amelia. What do you want? That her mother-in-law didn't like her very much was no secret to Amelia. But at least she used to say hello and not let herself be so obviously disliked. Heather, hello. I need to have a word with Harry. Harry can't talk right now. He's in the hospital. What do you mean? In the hospital, don't you understand? Amelia asked. He's taken abruptly ill. Are you amused? My son had an accident because of you, and you're laughing. Where did you come from in our head? Amelia realized there was no point in continuing the conversation in that tone, and passed out. She dialed the nearest hospital and learned that Harry was there. She called a cab and drove to the hospital to see her husband. That Harry had been in an accident was strange, for he had been very careful and attentive in his driving. But not everyone drives like that. Someone could have hit him. At the emergency room, she was told that her husband was in trauma care. He has a fracture and a concussion, and his condition is moderate. The doctor allowed the spouse to visit. There was no one in the room but Harry. Harry lay by the window and looked away. He was looking out into the distance. Hello, said Amelia quietly, as if nothing had happened yesterday. How are you feeling? Amelia, my Amelia is here. Harry was happy. You didn't leave me. I would have no illusions about that. It's just a courtesy visit. We are not strangers, after all. But it doesn't mean anything in our relationship. I've made up my mind about our separation. Amelia, let's talk like adults. Harry asked. Harry, what kind of adults are you talking about? Grown-ups start a family and keep it together, not have affairs left and right. Or didn't you know that? She paused and continued. Though why am I surprised? You did it with your first wife. Amelia, but I do love you. It was an obsession, a mistake. Don't I have the right to be wrong? Of course you do, and I can be wrong. We're all human. I, for example, made a huge mistake when I married you. After all, Amelia told me, a man who betrays once will betray twice. So I proved to everyone that you're not like that it's your wife who's bad and you're good. You naive idiot. Don't tell me. That's not true. You say that on purpose to hurt me. What do you know about pain? It hurt me yesterday when I went back to my apartment and found my beloved husband with another woman. What are you in pain for? The truth. At that moment, the door in the room opened and the same woman who had been in their apartment yesterday walked in. Only now did Amelia notice that she was pregnant. It was not easy. The pain was unbearable. You got her pregnant. With hatred, looking at her spouse, Amelia asked. Yes, it happened that way. Guilty, looking at the floor, said Harry. And then Amelia's nerves gave out. Do you know what you are after that? You're a pig. You wouldn't let me get pregnant under the guise of being busy, and in the meantime, you knocked up half of Peter. Are you human? Why are you doing this to me? I hate you." She calmed down a little, pulled herself together, and went on. "Here's the deal. I'll send your things to your mother by courier. I'm letting you out of the apartment. You have nothing to do with it. I'll file the papers when I get back from vacation, and God forbid you come within a kilometer of me." Harry looked at his wife in surprise. He understood that her anger and claims are justified, but he did not want it to turn out this way. Nor was getting his mistress pregnant part of his plans. "Amelia, wait, let's discuss." "I have nothing to discuss with you. There's nothing else between us. It's a good thing I didn't take your last name. Now I'd have to change my papers again. What about you, young lady?" She turned to the woman who was still standing on the doorstep. "I would advise you to think 10 times before you agree to live with this scumbag, thinking that after a while he will leave you, even though he has a child. He already has 2 children, by the way. He told you that." She turned and left the room. The point of no return is past. There was no turning back. Suddenly, the feeling of resentment was replaced by a feeling of relief. Amelia urgently needed someone to talk it out. And who do you call in such cases? The best friend, of course. Amelia dialed Olivia. "Hi. Do you happen to have the day off today?" "Hi. I happen to have the day off." "What, are you back from vacation already? You were supposed to fly back next week." "Olivia, is a very long story. So much has happened in these few days. Grab a bottle of champagne and come see me. I'm already outside the house. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. I'm going to burst with emotion. You're intriguing me. I'll be at your place in an hour." Amelia took a cab and drove home. On the way, she dialed Jack. "Hi. How are you guys doing over there?" "Hi, we're fine. We're waiting, of course, very much. And how are you flying in alone?" "Yeah. I'm not married anymore," Amelia said cryptically. "How is that?" Jack was surprised. "Jack, I'll tell you everything tomorrow. I took a ticket, and I will fly to you tomorrow. Wait for me. Kisses until I see you." "Kisses until I see you," said a confused Jack. Amelia pulled up in front of the house. She jumped out of the cab and ran into the driveway. Amelia had never used an elevator. She was afraid of getting stuck in one and preferred to walk. Especially the 4th floor wasn't that high. Already getting her keys, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned her head and received a blow to the head. Amelia opened her eyes. The ceiling was white, the walls gray, and the bed tucked in beside her. The headache was unbearable. Amelia could barely comprehend that she was in a hospital room. She tried to say something, but she couldn't hear herself. "What the hell is this? Why am I in a hospital?" She tried to move her arms and legs. She pulled herself together and with a hand reached out to the side and caught the can. It rumbled to the floor. A nurse rushed into the room. "Doctor, she's awake. Somebody call the doctor." And leaning over Amelia, she began to examine her. "How are you feeling?" "Fine, I guess," barely heard Amelia say. The doctor, who looked a lot like Ibelet, with the same beard and glasses, rushed into the room. Amelia even smiled as she looked at him. Yes, I am Ibelet." The doctor smiled, apparently accustomed to being often compared to this character. "Only my name is Thomas. How are you feeling? Do you remember anything?" "I don't remember anything." "What happened?" Amelia still struggled to ask. "Were you hit on the head?" "You have a closed brain injury. It's good that you came to your senses. We were worried a long time ago." "I've been worried about you, Amelia, for 2 weeks." How second week Amelia jumped up on the bed and tears came out of her eyes. "No, there are no tears. You're not allowed to worry." "Absolutely not." "What, are you alive?" "That's the main thing. Everything else can be fixed." "You don't understand. I'm supposed to be in another city. There, in general, it is very important." "Amelia, You will definitely go to another city as soon as you get better. You will have to stay with us for a long time, until we are sure you are all right. No one will let you go anywhere. Things can wait, even important things, believe me. Amelia closed her eyes, and the tears continued to flow down her cheeks. Maya turned the doctor to the nurse. Give her an injection of sedative. Let her still sleep. She was injected with some medicine. Amelia fell into a deep sleep. She saw a large house in front of her. She was walking to it on the path, and the house was not coming closer, but on the contrary, it was getting farther away. Amelia stopped and looked around. Everything around was completely alien and unfamiliar. Where am I? Amelia thought. Suddenly, she saw Jack's daughter, Emily, in the distance and went to her. But Emily, for some reason, stood there and didn't move. Amelia called out to her, but she didn't respond. She got very close and realized it wasn't Emily, but a big doll. Amelia walked back down the path, trying to figure out what to do next. Where to go? There were no people around, and she couldn't ask anyone where she was. Then she saw Harry in the clearing. He was sitting on a blanket talking to his first wife. Amelia decided to go to them, so they could help her find her way. But the closer she got to them, the blurrier their figures became. Suddenly, Amelia saw an elderly woman walking down the same path as her. "Wait, woman," shouted Amelia. The woman turned around and looked in her direction strangely. "Why are you shouting?" she asked. "Help me, please. I don't know where I am or how to get out of here. How can I help you if you don't understand? But you are going somewhere, so you know the way. So I go my way, and you have to go yours. You and I are definitely not on our way. Where are you going?" "I'm going home to my house. My husband and children are waiting for me there." "Where should I go?" "You need to find yours." And she pointed somewhere in the direction. And only now did Amelia notice that there were many other paths that diverged from the path she was taking. "And how do you know where my path is?" Amelia asked, childishly naive. "There are a lot of them. No one can help you. You must know and feel where you want to go. Look," she pointed to one of the paths. "If you go down this one, you'll have a great career, but you'll be alone. And if you go down this one, you'll go back to your husband, but you'll stay in the same profession." "Wait," Amelia impatiently interrupted her. "But it's not right for me. It's not the right option. So there are many paths. You choose with your heart. It will tell you where to go. You have to know what you want. It's really much easier than you think. And if I go the wrong way, if I make the wrong choice, I can go back and take another path. No, you can't have time to go back. There's no going back. And if you listen to your heart, you definitely won't go wrong. Believe me, I've been around a long time and I know what I'm talking about. All right, I'll give it a try. Thank you." Amelia turned to the woman and wanted to wish her a happy journey. But the woman was nowhere to be found. Strange woman. Where had she gone already? "Okay, we have to choose. I don't know how." Amelia looked at the paths and tried to hear her inner voice, but it was silent. There was no premonition. "Okay, since no one wanted to help me, I would think about what I really wanted." Out loud, Amelia began to think, "I want." And suddenly she wondered what she really wants. She used to dream of a good job and a decent salary, of her own apartment, then of a loving husband and children. She has a good, interesting, well-paid job. She has an apartment. Her husband turned out to be a traitor, and now she doesn't want to think about him at all. The only thing that was left unfulfilled was her children. She hasn't been able to come close to that point yet. What if she's going to be a bad mother? Maybe God doesn't give her children because he knows she is a bad mother. But how would she know that unless she tried? Amelia began to reason further. If I don't have this job, can I find a new one? Easily. But do I need a promotion if I'm going to be alone forever? No, I definitely don't. I want a loving, reliable man by my side. So I don't want that path. I've already broken up with my husband, and going back to him means I've stopped respecting myself. So this path doesn't work for me. Now for the hard part. There are 5 more paths, but I don't know anything about them. Amelia sat down on the grass and stared into the distance. Nothing was in sight. To recap, I want a family and children. I really like Jack. I would like to try to build a relationship with him. He has a very nice, sweet daughter, and I would really like to build a relationship with her, be friends with her, and try to be a mom to her. I would like for things to work out between me and him. We would buy a big house, get a dog, and live there as a big friendly family. Stop. My dreams don't include work at all. I don't even think about it. Why not? So family is a priority for me. Maybe I'm already worked up. So Amelia stood up and looked again at the paths. Let's heart. Tell me, which of these paths leads to Jack and Emily? Amelia looked intently at the paths, and at one point it seemed to her that one path changed color, as if the grass around it was brighter and more lush. It's settled. I'll take this one. And she walked confidently down the path she'd chosen. Amelia heard someone's voice and woke up. Damn, Olivia, you woke me up at the most interesting place. I don't know where I'm going. And it's good to see you, smiled her friend. Hi, sleepyhead. Hi. I had the strangest dream. I just figured it all out and made up my mind. And you called me and woke me up. Come on, it's just a dream. No, it's a strange dream. I'll tell you about it. And Amelia recounted the whole dream to Olivia. Her friend agreed that the dream was indeed unusual. Amelia, it's simple. You've made up your mind about what you want. And now you get out of the hospital and go to your dream. I just don't understand who Jack and Emily are and why Harry is a traitor. Oh, I'll tell you everything. You don't know anything. Amelia told Olivia about meeting Jack in Lisbon, about his daughter, about the great time they had together, how understanding and considerate and caring he was, and so on. Olivia looked intently at her friend and wondered, Amelia, you seem to be in love. There is so much tenderness in your voice when you say his name. I have never seen you like this before in my life. What's he like on the outside? He looks almost like the actor Jack. Olivia whistled, forgetting she was in the room. Wow. Wow. What a handsome man. Very interesting to look at him. I have some pictures in my phone from field trips. I'll be sure to show him to you. So that's clear. What did Harry do? Why are you making him out to be a traitor? Amelia went into great detail about her return home. Olivia was cursing with the last words. I told you, he who betrays once will do it again. There are exceptions, of course, but your Harry is too sweet. To the point of nausea. I'm sorry, of course. Yeah, I know you were right, but I was so on edge, I couldn't think straight. No wonder. He must have a way with words. Olivia, I'm wondering if Jack will be like that. I mean, he's handsome and very gallant. That's the kind of guy women hang themselves onto. Stop it. If a man's decent, he knows how to fight back. And he's obviously decent. Since he didn't drag you to bed, he didn't even try to kiss you. So don't get your hopes up. Okay, you've got it. Amelia smiled. 3 days later, the doctor allowed Amelia to use the phone, and she immediately dialed Jack. But the number was disconnected. During that time, he had called her 20 times, sent her several dozen messages, and now he himself was unavailable. Amelia texted him that she was in the hospital and couldn't tell him earlier. In the evening, Harry visited her. Her ex-husband came with a bouquet of flowers and a bag of fruit. Hi, he said simply. How are you feeling? Hi, thank you. It is better if you have come to make up. Amelia immediately began, but Harry interrupted her. No, I didn't come to make up. I came to apologize and say goodbye. Sadly, Harry said. Goodbye. Amelia was surprised. Yes, I signed the papers at the wedding parlor. You have to come over and sign it. And that's it. Unexpectedly. What's the big attraction of generosity? Amelia, I know who hit you on the head, Harry said with his head down. Really? And who's that? Another one of your lovers. Amelia began to get angry. No, they did it at my mother's request. but I'm not going to say that in court. Of course, if the police find it, let them prove it, but not with my help." He stopped talking and continued, "Please forgive her. She is a woman of authority, and she is used to having things done her way." Oh my goodness, I didn't even think anything of her. I was shocked when I found out myself. One more thing. I'm sorry about everything. I've always gone left-handed. I guess it's just my nature. I can't live with just one woman. I get bored. I'm not going to have a family anymore. I've had enough. And yes, I was offered to head a branch in another city. I said yes, and I'm leaving. I'm so sorry. I'm very guilty before you. I can't leave without saying goodbye." Amelia looked at her ex-husband with sadness and regret. On the one hand, he had betrayed her. His mother had been mean to Amelia. On the other, he was a miserable, essentially unhappy man. He had never loved anyone, and was unlikely to love anyone ever again. And the few years they had lived together had not always been bad. She had learned something from living with Harry. "I'm not mad at you." Unexpectedly, Amelia said to herself, "We've had some good times too. I have many good memories of living with you, although it hurts when you tell me that you've been going out all the time. You don't have to say anything about that. I told you to be honest. I didn't start acting like this right away about a year after we got married. I'm disgusted myself, but I can't help it. It's like hunting. Okay, let's not talk about it. I'm glad you're all right, and I want you to be happy, to find a normal family man, to have kids, and you deserve all the best in the world. That's from the heart." He walked over to Amelia, leaned down, and kissed him on the cheek. Amelia hugged him goodbye. "May you be well too. Wait, what about your pregnant mistress? You're leaving her. She lost the baby and broke up with me. Although I thought she was coming with me. So I guess it's only fair that I'm alone. I don't think you've ever really been in love. And you're bound to meet your woman and settle down. I don't think so. I'm not 25. Harry stated sadly. He hugged and kissed Amelia again. "Be happy." Harry left the room, and Amelia continued to stare at the door. Too bad for him, she thought. He's not a bad person, just a womanizer. Maybe it's really some kind of disease, and he can't control himself. An Ibolite came into the room. "Well, Amelia, shall we check out? Or do you like it so much that you will continue to lie here?" The doctor smiled. "Shall we?" shouted Amelia. "Then get ready. Tomorrow I will discharge you." The next day, Amelia went home. Olivia picked her up from the hospital and helped her carry her things. "What are you going to do, girlfriend?" she asked Amelia. "We have to go to the bridal salon and sign the form to close the matter." Then she smiled thoughtfully. "Then I will look for my betrothed. Fortunately, he is also from St. Petersburg. I can help you. Do you have any information about him?" "Of course. Last name, first name, profession." "He's a lawyer." "That's an easy one. Let's check the internet." It took Olivia a couple of minutes to find Jack and look up the office address and office hours. "I think it would be cool if you could surprise him and come to his office as a client." "I don't like surprises. I've been coming home as a surprise lately." "That's silly. He'll be very pleased. Go ahead and call." Amelia dialed the number and made an appointment for a consultation. "Tomorrow at 11:30, she repeated aloud. "We need to clean up after the hospital, so urgent to the salon and a manicure. Let me take care of your recovery. My salon is free today. Let's just go to the bridal salon first." It's on the way just as the friends stopped at the wedding salon, where Amelia received the certificate of dissolution of marriage. And then to the salon. Amelia decided that she needed to start her new life in a new look and got a different haircut. No matter how much Olivia persuaded Amelia to dye her hair a different color, Amelia flatly refused. "No, I'm a natural brunette. I don't want to ruin my color, and I won't." "Okay, let's not touch the color." After she finished redecorating, Olivia took her friend home. Amelia wanted to sleep in her own bed. Before the meeting, she imagined how she would see Jack, What she would say to him. What if he didn't want to see me? What if he was offended that I didn't come? She began to doubt Amelia would go anyway. I have to at least try. In the morning, Amelia woke up in a good mood. She finally got a good night's sleep. After drinking her coffee, she began to get ready for her most important event, her meeting with Jack. Amelia got out of the cab and stopped at the door of the office at 11:20. Her inner trembling was so strong that she thought she wouldn't even be able to say hello to the secretary. She had to pull herself together. But Amelia wasn't able to do that yet. Finally, having somehow managed to cope with her excitement, Amelia opened the door and entered the office. The friendly receptionist offered to sit down and wait, since Jack was still busy with another client. Amelia sat in her chair and nervously fiddled with the handle of her purse. The office door opened and a man stepped out. Amelia waited for Jack himself to come out to meet the next client, which was her Amelia. But the owner of the office simply sternly told the receptionist on Elizabeth's intercom to let the next one come in. Elizabeth politely pointed to the door and motioned for her guest to come into the office. Amelia walked so slowly it seemed to her it was 2 hours before she covered the distance of 6 steps. She entered the study. But sitting at the desk was a completely different person. It wasn't Jack. "Hello." Amelia was confused. "Where's Jack?" "I made an appointment." "Good afternoon. Come in and have a seat." "What can I do for you?" He ignored her question. "A man. You can't do anything." "I want Jack." Amelia repeated insistently. "I will speak only to him." "That's how." "Then you will have to wait. Jack is delayed. He asked me to consult his clients. But if it's just him you want, then you'll have to wait in the waiting room. Please." Amelia left the office. Excitement was replaced by frustration. She wanted to see him so badly, had set her heart on seeing him, and there was such an unpleasant surprise. We had to wait a long time for about an hour. Amelia had already drunk 2 cups of coffee and was about to drink a third. Suddenly, the door opened, and he walked in. How handsome was he after all? Amelia thought. The man is a magnet. "Jack, hello." Amelia stood up and stepped towards him. "Amelia," the surprise was very strong and absolutely sincere. "Where did you come from?" "I came to see you for a consultation. I even made an appointment with the receptionist." "Will you see me? Of course, please come in." They went into the office, waited for Jack to come out, and Amelia threw herself on his neck. "I missed you so much." But Jack pulled away from her. He reeked of coldness. Amelia knew that he was probably offended, and he needed to explain. "Jack, I'll tell you everything." Amelia recounted everything to the smallest detail, and how she came home, and how she kicked her husband out, and how she went to see him in the hospital, and how she ended up in the hospital herself. "I was just discharged yesterday. I can show you the certificate." She excused herself. Jack, who had been sitting there, got up silently from the table and sat down next to Amelia. "You don't need a certificate. I believe you. I just thought you were playing with me, or maybe you wanted to embarrass your husband by making him jealous. There's all sorts of things. I didn't go looking for you so I wouldn't hurt you. I really wanted to, though. We were so looking forward to you and Emily. Jack, I wanted to come to you more than anything in the world, too. But circumstances were against us." She lowered her head and took his hand. "I want us to be together. Let's give it a try." Jack looked into Amelia's eyes so tenderly that she couldn't stand it and kissed him first. He replied, "Amelia, move in with us. We are not children. We can skip the candy bequeathal period and get to the fun part." Jack smiled. "And I can give you flowers and sweets every day anyway." "I agree. I don't want to waste a minute. I want to be with you every free second." 1 second. That same day, Amelia moved her things in with Jack. Emily was very happy about her move, and 3 weeks later they were married. Jack insisted that they formalize the relationship, and no one had any questions. On their honeymoon, the newlyweds and their daughter went to Lisbon to the very hotel where they had met. On their return 2 weeks later, it turned out that Amelia was pregnant. 8 months later, there were 5 members of the family. Amelia gave birth to twin boys. "Are you happy?" Jack asked his wife when she returned from the hospital. "Yes, but I don't have a dog to be happy. As soon as the boys are a year old, we'll get a dog. It's a deal." Jack agreed and put his arm around his wife's shoulders.